I think all professional schools, postgraduate schools, should be pass-fail, period.
When did that change? Like, when did we go, like, I want to be a vet, to, like, vet, like, suck, like, they have a really hard time?
That's another change, and I don't know what changed that. It used to be a career, a profession.
If everybody was leaving and your team was unhappy, why were you telling yourself that you were doing it wrong and they were doing it right when you were watching all of that unfold?
More importantly, I was looking at the accounting, I was looking at the marketing, I was looking at the finances, I was looking at everything else the MBA teaches you. And the biggest thing I got out of the MBA was, number one, I didn't really care about accounting anymore. I thought marketing was cool. I didn't care about finance. I didn't care about business law. I didn't care about all those other things. But I really realized the reason I was so successful is because of my leadership. Mm-hmm. My ability to mentor, my ability to cheerlead, my ability to give everyone psychological safety. I mean, how much would it mean to your staff if they came to you and said, I really can't come in today, my boy is homesick with the flu and I can't take him to school, right? If they gave that excuse, they would count that as a strike against one of my employees, which I never would in a million years. I had kids, I know what it's like trying to find a babysitter for the day. Plus, so freaking expensive, they would have to work 3 days probably to pay for what that babysitter charged them in one. That's the biggest thing. I think right now, granted, corporate has its plus, which is veterinarians are finally getting paid what I think they should have been paid for years, for decades. I had an RVT, she was asking for a $2 raise. She knew what the average minimum of RVTs was going for around us. She was asking for $6 less than what the average was, and she was just asking for $2 more because she got her license. She went through school, she passed the national board exam, she was a licensed veterinary technician in California. And they said no. They gave her 6 cents.
No way. What a slap in the face.
And you know what else? When she put her 2-week in, they immediately took an ad out for a salary that was $2 more an hour than what she was asking for.
Oh my gosh. How crushing. Totally missing the mark.
Yeah, missing the mark. The soft skills. The soft skills. Everything in this profession is about the soft skills.
What would you say to a veterinarian looking at getting an MBA? This is a selfish question for myself, but also I'm curious what your advice is.
Well, it depends where you're going, right? I went and got my MBA because I wanted to learn. I had gotten to that point in my life that I was there. I would actually yell at the professors when they would talk about grades. Like, oh, you got to, this is an A, this is a B. Number one, I think all professional schools, postgraduate schools should be pass-fail, period, right? Get rid of the idea. That helps get rid of the idea of perfectionism.
Yeah. Did we learn or did we not learn? What?
Exactly. Yeah, pass-fail. Right? But these kids were worried about their grades. They would be taking my precious time, my biggest commodity, my most precious commodity, which is my time, and getting a 10-minute explanation about grades. I went through vet school with the equation C equals DVM, but when I went to my MBA, my wife's like, oh, you're studying so hard. You've become that student. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to educate myself now, right? I just want to be the best version of me that I can. So if you're going to go for your MBA, I'd say do it. You would learn so much. But then I would also challenge anyone who's interested in getting an MBA, go get your DBA. Get your doctorate in business administration. Become a disruptor. You see the problems, you know the problems, you've worked the problems, go change the problems. And I think that's huge. And I'm going to put a plug in again for Pepperdine. Because when I was dealing with the MBAs at the corporate level that bought me out, they went to Harvard, they went to Vanderbilt, they went to Northwestern, they went to Wharton. They were no slouches, but none of them knew leadership. They knew accounting, they knew finances, they knew marketing, but no one knew how to do leadership. And without leadership, you cannot implement any of those things effectively. So would I tell you to go get your MBA? Yes. It was the most positive thing I have done for myself in the last 30 years. I didn't need to go get my MBA. I don't need to get my DBA. I'm doing it for me. Do it for yourself? Absolutely. If you're doing it for someone else, don't waste your time.
Are you still practicing right now?
No. December 23, I was done.
Okay.
The CEO of the corporation asked me to leave. Go figure. I won't tell you what I did, though. It might get me in trouble. But yeah, I was asked to leave. I was working 40 to 60 hours a week, getting my MBA, and also started my doctorate in business administration program all at the same time.
With 3 girls.
With
and
3 girls and a wife.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to find your time. Like I knew for me, I know 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. I have the most mindfulness when I absorb the most. The house is quiet. No one needs anything from me from 3 to 6 a.m. I would do my work from 3 to 6 a.m. That leaves the whole day open,
Yeah.
to do whatever I wanted. It's completely doable. And if you love what you're doing, is it truly a job? Is it truly a degree? No, you're learning. And I think a lot of problems also is how many veterinarians do you talk to now that says it's their job? It's not their profession. It's not their career. It's their job. That's another change, and I don't know what changed that. It used to be a career, a profession.
That's
now,
what I'm saying. Like, when did that change? Like, when did we go, like, I want to be a vet to, like, vets, like, suck. Like, they have a really hard time, and...
Yeah, when the whole concept of work-life balance came into play, I think that's something that really needs to be discussed, as we discussed earlier. And it isn't a job. It isn't a job.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. Veterinary medicine is unbelievable. It is so cool. It's such a great profession. And it breaks my heart that so many of these young, early career veterinarians are not experiencing that. And that's where my research comes into play. I want to figure out what's going on. Are they not getting mentored? Well, guess what? Let's make sure you are. I don't know where to go with it. Ultimately, I would love to be a dean of a vet school. I would love to be sitting in the classroom, and everyone's like, oh, deans are all about raising funds. Well, guess what? Pay me less, get someone else that's going to go out and raise funds. I want to sit in the classroom. I want to talk to the students. I want veterinary classes over to my house with my wife for dinners. That's what I had. Dean Valley did that at Illinois for us. Dean Valley was amazing. He was unbelievable. All the stars aligned maybe for me now that I think about it. Every point along my journey was phenomenal until the end. But when it wasn't phenomenal, I went and did something else that made it phenomenal. And the one thing I will tell you is to watch out for, as the owner, there will come a day that you will be passing the torch, right? There will be a day. Is it in 2 years? Is it in 32 years? You don't know. But when that day comes, the veterinary medicine burnout is real. When they took away my entrepreneurship hat and my managerial hat, and all I had was the doctor hat, it was awful. August before I retired, if a euthanasia came in, I would go outside and vomit before I'd have to go do another euthanasia. It was unbelievable.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. First, I talked to my internal medicine, my personal internist. Because once your doctor finds out you're a veterinarian, your appointments go so differently. I don't know if you...
They really do, yeah.
They really do, right?
They treat you differently, yeah.
Yeah, they do. So,
like,
but he
you
always...
get it.
So I actually called him, and I'm like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? He's like, sure. And I'm like, I'm having a trouble with euthanasias. He's like, what are you talking about? And I told him what was going on, how I'd get anxiety, how I'd start sweating. I'd go outside and vomit. Do you watch football at all?
A little bit, but
there was
I
a
don't follow
Buffalo
it
Bills
super closely.
There was a Buffalo Bills player that was hit in the chest, and his heart stopped on the field. And the whole nation, because it was Monday Night Football, all the players on the field, everyone in the stadium, everyone around the globe was watching this football player get CPR. And they all were in shock. And he's like, do you know how many times a day a doctor that works in the emergency room does CPR? Do you know how many times they have code blue in true emergency rooms? He's like, they do it 4 or 5 times a day. And it's second nature to them. But he goes, there's only so much time that your body can handle that before it's done. And he's like, your body has reached that threshold now where you can't go through this grief anymore. And it wasn't the euthanasia. It was saying goodbye to a client of mine or a patient of mine. But it was also looking at the clients in their eyes and seeing the grief that their family was going through that just took its toll on me. Like, I can't watch any show where there's any animal suffering. I can't watch an ASPCA commercial. I can't watch any TikTok or Instagram that shows dogs being rescued off the side of a freeway because they were dumped. I can't handle that. My brain can't handle that. And it's still a process that I'm going through. I think of the ideas of helping out at a shelter, but I can't think of the concept of walking through and saying, well, that dog's amazing, but if he's not adopted in the next 2 days, that's it. I cannot even fathom that concept anymore.
Do you think that there's something you could have done differently when you were practicing to make it more sustainable so that you didn't get to this point? Like, do you think about that?
Well, 33 years is pretty sustainable. I think what was so great was owning the practice. I was able to dilute out my burnout into the managerial and the entrepreneurial aspect, right? I was able to see clients, but I was also able to sit down on my computer and look at credit card bills, look at invoices, look at marketing ideas, look at, just other things that I was not only worrying about the doctoring. And do I think maybe that's one of the problems that maybe mid-career veterinarians have? Yes. It still doesn't explain the early career veterinarian issue because they haven't been out long enough to even get their feet wet and they're complaining. And I think that all comes back down to, are we accepting the right people? Are we teaching them correctly? And I have veterinarians that come up, we have actors that come in. An actor's not going to prepare you. They're not going to prepare you for a true client ripping you a new one in an exam room or getting a Yelp review that the whole world can see, or not being able to hit that vein for a euthanasia because you're just so devastated about what's going on. There were, I always made sure I sedated animals. I always made sure that we put IV catheters in front of the clients so I could get rid of those things. I don't know how veterinarians euthanize an animal when they're fully awake.
I think I saw that once or twice when I was first shadowing, when I first was
want to
looking
do
into
that
veterinary.
again.
Yeah. I was like, screw that. That's awful.
You working at veterinary clinics before you went to vet school, it taught you what you truly wanted to bring into your practice and what you didn't, correct?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, I'm honestly shocked that people don't go work in vet clinics before they go to vet school. I thought that was mandatory.
But some do. Some have 3,000, 4,000 hours in veterinary clinics, but they only have a 3.1, right? They have a 3.2.
We're not selecting for the right parameters. Yeah.
How many of your employees do you think would make excellent veterinarians, but they just don't have the grades, right?
Several. Yeah.
Exactly.
I've definitely worked with several that would have been really great, but had like a 3.1 or a 3.2, and it's like, go back to school and do better because you're not going to get in with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, what can we do for change, right? Let's be positive about this. I think as a profession, we have to accept change. As a profession, we need to pivot. As a profession, we need to cheerlead more and not just write words on a text or on a thread, but actually go out there and do something. I challenge all veterinarians to go out and do one thing, even if it's going and doing something in the community or going to elementary schools, high schools, get involved in a high school mentoring program. If you have a college student that's thinking about going to vet school, guess what? They're going to make an excellent employee. Maybe hire them for the summer.
Yeah, I have two right now. Yeah.
You have two? There you go.
Yes.
See? Exactly.
Yeah. They're the best because they're real motivated and they have a goal. And they're,
right?
Yeah.
And you can start putting your little tentacles into them. That didn't come out right, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. That you can start to mold them. You can start to prepare them for the ups, the downs, and everything in between.
And I think having summer help is underrated. Like as soon as they go back to school and we slow down, then I get rid of them off the payroll. So my labor cost is adjusted, that is something I'm really looking forward to. Is this idea of
Do you truly slow down?
Oh yeah. Since I started my hospital, we have seasons. It is wild.
Really?
And my first 2 years out of school, 0 seasons. I started this hospital a year and a half out of school. And that was about the time that seasonality kicked up. And so we actually opened in December 5th of 2023, I think. And so December 5th of 2022. So at the end of 2022 and then start of 2023 is when we opened. That was the first time I'd experienced like a winter slowdown. And I was like, what the heck? Why is this happening right when I start this practice? Yeah. Why can't it just be really busy like COVID? It's been wild.
And your rectum puckers a little bit. I've been there.
100%.
Oh my, you're like, oh shit.
It's a different kind of responsibility. Yeah, when you have people on your payroll and you see your bank account.
Electric bill. You got the electric bill guy, and you got the bank guy, and you got this guy. Banks don't care about seasonality.
They don't. Yeah, my savings account doesn't care either. It's just, so it's really, I'm in this ownership with a few other partners, and so that really helps spread some of the
pain.
Yes. But luckily...
How is that, though? I'm curious. Because the one thing I always tell people is don't go in with partners. Do it yourself.
Interesting. Yeah.
How is it?
So I think picking your partner wisely makes a world of a difference. So
it's a marriage.
It is literally was about to come out of my mouth. It's a marriage. And I think who you're choosing as your life partner matters as much for business as who's your work partner, right? Like it's such an important decision.
Yes.
And my partners are great and give me the autonomy to make decisions in the hospital, but they have decades of experience to help give me insight. They're open to my innovative thoughts and things I want to try. And then they're also, very transparent if they've tried it before. Like their wisdom is super helpful to kind of wade through what I'm excited about and how do we decide what's risk that we're willing to take to see how it goes.
Are you all equal partners?
We're not equal partners, but I have a nice chunk of the hospital. Like it's, I own 15%. So it's not
who has
like
the deciding vote though? Who has a deciding vote?
Technically our CEO, I think has the largest share, but there's a verbal agreement that like everybody needs to be on board for us to move forward with the decision. So there's no like ranking that's been pulled from how much percentages we have. So it's been a great partnership, but I think it would be so easy for me to have thought, like, I think it'd be so easy to get into a partnership that didn't work out that way, and so I think it's important to make sure you're partnering with the right people. I think it's fun doing it with people too. Like I think having a partner along the way to like share in the woes and the celebrations that can be your hospital manager, but it could also be, what if it was someone who's invested as much as you were and, was excited and could back you up when you're making a decision and be like, yeah, this is good. Or, we're going to try this. And if it doesn't work out, we'll be there with you. Right. So
that exists in the land of rainbows and unicorns most of the time. You are very blessed.
I do. I feel very blessed. I mean, they gave me this opportunity a year and a half out of school. Firehouse Animal Health Centers is a group I work with. Dr. Jed Rogers and Dr. Johnny Fott, and then Dr. Hunter Bowen is the third entity, and then
3 men.
LLC. 3 men. Isn't that interesting? I know.
Wow.
I think about this every once in a while. I'm like, and I'm the youngest. I've like everybody else that's an MD of this hospital group is, many years older than me. So I was a big risk for them because, I'm fresh out of school and they knew me, but you don't really know until someone gets into a leadership role, like how they're going to handle it. I got lucky, I think. But I think all of us who get to certain places in our career, there's some level of luck there of, I had a mentor that lifted me up, and like Bingo. That is the story I hear on repeat. The people that get those opportunities are also the ones that are a little less concerned about this idea of work-life balance and are willing to put in the extra effort and go above and beyond in the extra hours. And it has me thinking about like the younger generations and how quickly they are kind of changing their tune about how much they want to work and all this stuff. And like with social media and AI, all of this, we're not good at building relationships anymore. We are dating less. We are getting married a lot later, if at all. We're not having children because it's too hard to date, and / find the right partner. We're having sex less than ever. Like the statistics are insane. And
but that's your generation that's causing that.
Yeah, are we causing it, or are we the product of like this world that's being created by technology, and we're not getting trained on how to live in it and still be successful? And veterinary medicine is a very relationship-based profession, just like pediatricians. Like, it's all about the buy-in between and the trust between the client and the doctor. And the vets that are doing that well are going to have the consumer advantage. Like, that's going to be the gold mine, is people who can build relationships in the 1 hour party that I have to impress this team so that they will hire me. If I can do that well, I'll win over any client, right? Like, that first impression, that's all we get in vet med. We walk in the door, and if we look like we're pissed off to be there and not excited to see their fluffy dog, it's over. But
but also the fluffy dog has to be excited to see you.
Yeah. You better have some treats in your pocket, guys.
Exactly.
So it's just, it's interesting to see societal trends and the conversations that are coming up between, like, with just social relations and younger generations, and then watching the problems that we're having in veterinary medicine. And I can't help but, like, link those together. And then what was maybe working for selecting the right people to handle this job, right? Is like, there's so many factors that go into it, and what can we control right now? And we do need more information. Like, I'm really excited to see what comes out with what you're working on with your DBA. Where are you headed with this? Like, you have really done a pretty major transition from practice work. You've completely let that go. It sounds like that was really tough. I'm curious how you picked yourself up and made the decision to start the MBA after they asked you to leave. Like, what was that like?
No. I was doing the MBA while I was working for them, and then I started the DBA. And because I was doing the DBA and reading a whole bunch of empirical business articles about veterinary medicine, I would keep sending them a new PDF every day of a new leadership article or problems of veterinary medicine to the CEO, the HR, everybody.
He was like, get out of my face.
Exactly. They said it was unprofessional. I'm like, you guys don't want to learn? Like, this is all interesting stuff. This is like what you're dealing with. Where do I want to go? I just want to see what I can do to disrupt. I love the DBA because the DBA actually gave me my platform for my podcast. And that's kind of the things I talk to people about. I want to start answering questions that people want to ask but are too afraid to. I want to also help them with the roadblocks they might be running into trying to get answers to those questions. That's the goal. And I would love to, honestly, like, one of the people on our Pacific Land Studios platform is Ready Vet Go, Dr. Danny Rabwin. She actually owns a professional mentoring group that has a 7-month cohort that actually helps mentor new grads. I would love to go with her to vet school and buy pizza ourselves or have it sponsored and just sit there and have a town hall and answer questions that are burning in veterinary students' minds. Because, as you said, like, everyone's social media, right? Mm-hmm. These veterinary students are reading this stuff about all the bad, right? And if you look at any research on electronic word of mouth, 82% of negative reviews are the ones that are read the most. Not the positives, so the negatives. So those are the ones that are burning in everyone's mind. I want to go around and start answering those questions for people. I want to write executive summaries in veterinary journals. Like I told you, I want to be a dean of a vet school. There's a lot of things I want to do. But I also want to maybe create an army around me of people I know and trust and have the same vision and mission that I do. And maybe we can get some changes, because I can tell you right now, the AVMA or the American College of Veterinary, ACVMS, or, that's in charge of the veterinary schools. What are they changing? You see the research. The research is in front of you. It's been going on for 20 years, yet we're not changing anything. I'm thinking about maybe starting having a CE just geared towards early career veterinarians. Maybe also at all these CE lectures, maybe we don't have the board certified specialists and the PhDs do the lectures. Why don't we have general practitioners doing the lectures? Hey, diarrhea, let's go over it. Like a basic conversation that teaches these early career veterinarians how to deal with diarrhea without running the bill through the roof and doing all that. I mean, There was a case when I was at the University of Illinois that came in, it got an ultrasound, a nuclear scan of the liver, because they thought this dog had a shunt. No one ran a fecal.
Oh my gosh.
It had whipworm.
Oh my gosh.
But the general practitioner was at fault. The academician at vet school was at fault because they're like, oh, let's do the bone scan and the nuclear scan of the liver and the ultrasound. And when those were all normal, they're like, oh, no one. Then they looked at the chart and said, oh, I don't see a fecal result anywhere.
I do think what's really fun to hear about. So I'm actually going to have Danny on. She's on the schedule to record with. So I'm excited to learn more about Ready Vet Go and like all the things that she's doing. One of my new grads she spent $300 of her own money on a course that 2 other veterinarians made to help new graduate veterinarians have these conversations and even how to prioritize what conversations to have so that they can get out of the room. I'll link this program in the show notes. I forget the name of it right now. I can even splice that in. She went out of her way to do that for herself. And I'm like, okay, where are these resources? There are really cool things that are coming out that people are making to try and fill some of these gaps that the schools aren't providing because these other soft skills are so important. The Evolve Vets is come out, like they're helping people deal with like how do you get your personal life and mental health and emotional intelligence into a place where it's conducive for the veterinary environment, right? Like do some personal work. I think there's big sections of this. I think people need to work on themselves. I think we're products of like these newer, younger generations there's so much data coming out, even like my generation and was born in the time when mothers were really getting into the workforce and there's data about in the first 3 years of life, if your mother isn't with you as much as needed, then it leads to all these mental health and anxiety issues later on.
But that sounds like a guilt trip to me.
There's so much that goes into it, but it's so interesting to see all these factors coming in, and then veterinarians are recognizing it, and like not even a percentage of us are creating tools, but tools are being created. And how do we get those into the public sphere so that vets can see what's available to them to try and help this crisis that we're in? And how do we get more people going out on a limb and building out whatever their idea is so that they can make a difference?
Maybe you and I and Ready Vet Go and Veterinary Vibes and World Veterinary Services, and maybe we all need to start pulling ourselves together and creating a difference and starting our own type of movement. You know, and talking about mentoring stuff, Dr. Eddie Reinhardt, love what she's doing. Love the concept of Mentor Vet. I signed up. Do you know I had to take a question, persuade, refer course in case one of my mentees was talking about hurting themselves, suicide? I mean, excuse my French, what the fuck is going on? Why are we getting to these veterinarians so late? We are so late in the game here. We need to get out in front of the issue. And I would be honored to have you part of, like, let's create this mission to go out and all of us that are cheerleaders for this profession, why don't we get our voices heard, right? And again, you know, I love that course, how to talk to a client, but I think it comes even more basic. Let's talk to them about the basics about conditions that animals have. And how do you break it down into layman's terms to discuss it with them? Like if you have a dog that has atopy, that problem is never going to be cured. Do you tell that client that immediately? You should, because it changes your conversation completely.
Yes, and they don't get mad at you when it's like
when
still
it starts
a problem.
itching, once the side point wears off.
They're like, I get it, and I got to come back.
Yeah, that's why if you're going to do anything in veterinary medicine and you're going to become board certified, become a dermatologist. There are no emergencies, and you never cure anything.
Tell me more about Pacific Lens Studios. Why did you start it?
Oh, Pacific Lens Studios, it's crazy because I was in retirement and I got lured out of retirement by a water polo dad. I have very few filters, so I would always go sit on the other side of the pool so none of the parents would hear me because I had an issue with the coaching. I had an issue with all the players, the parents of the players, not the players, the parents of the players. And he would come over there and start joining me because he'd feel the same way. And we're like, we need to sit down and do a podcast just to talk about youth coaching. and And then out of nowhere, he's like, hey, I rented a podcast studio and there was only one in Orange County and it was booked out for 6 weeks. But he's like, I found this church. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go sit down and do it. And so I thought it was going to be him and I. No, he brought in Antonio McKee. He's a UFC fighter. He's
Oh my gosh.
one hell of a character. Me and him sat there for 3 hours. And I didn't know that this water polo dad had created Hallmark movies in Hollywood. And he's like, you're perfect. We're doing, we should find a place. And next thing I know, I found a place. It was $1 a square foot. It was 1,600 square feet. And we started it and we just started doing podcasts. It was more like a hobby, but I started doing the veterinary medicine one and I fell in love with it. And then we created Veterinary Tales, which I'd love to have you on, where we sit there and just take questions from the audience and answer them. We don't prescribe, we don't diagnose, we just kind of talk about issues. And then I met Danny about 5 years ago at Veterinary Partners, which is an organization that has people come in from outside veterinary medicine that are helping veterinary medicine. So it could be economists, lawyers, there are veterinarians there, accountants, you name it. So it's everybody outside that's helping the profession. Cybersecurity, which everyone needs, right? Just all these things. The cool thing is when you join Veterinary Partners and you go to a meeting, you got to stand up and do a 2-minute pitch about yourself. I did a 2-minute pitch. She came running up and she's like, I need to meet you. And we hit it off immediately. So she's on board. There's a veterinary student named Garth Rollabard. He has veterinary vibes. He's on the platform now as well. And it started there. And then, I was like, oh, what about a wine podcast? So all of a sudden, the right side of the brain, the creative part, starts taking off. And that part is very hard. The left part is all about the knowledge and numbers. The right side is the creative side. And it's just awesome. But my wife's finally like, okay, are you going to close this place down? Because this is a pretty expensive hobby. And so I was like, okay, let me use my MBA, my entrepreneurship. So we do small business multimedia marketing. So I'm getting my fulfillment helping other small businesses get their story out there. And more importantly, their why. I want them to be successful. So every one of these small businesses I take on, it's with a mission and a vision of making them as successful as possible. And we do it together as a team. And it's been amazing. It's been unbelievable. But also it's been introducing me to people like you who, hey, they see the problem. They want to make a change. Let's do it, right? So
yes,
right now, that's where I'm at. But I really think I want to take this further. I would like to change CE. Let's create a complete CE meeting that is taught by GPs, right? Let's talk about tests that we can understand and our clients can afford, right?
yes.
Let's change the narrative. Let's make this profession fun again. Let's make it easy to comprehend. Let's make it
Let's
something.
connect again.
Yeah.
Like, we're so separated. It is even like there's 7 hospitals that I am a part of. My hospital is one of 7 in Austin. I only see the doctors I work with. And I like the doctors at the other hospitals. And I hardly ever see them or talk to them. And it's only like if I'm having an issue or want to consult on a case. But why aren't we hanging out? Like, and why are we so disconnected? And
because life has gotten hard. Life has gotten hard. So I had a question. You said you have partners. Do any of them have children?
Yes.
How many of your partners want their children to be veterinarians?
I don't know. But I have never heard someone say, I really hope my kid wants to be like me, like wants to be a vet. I've never heard someone say that.
Do you think that's a problem?
Yeah, for sure. Wow,
okay.
That's very profound. Yeah.
So that's
I've
why
never thought about it that way, but it's like why? Yeah, we should be really proud, and we should be.
We should be.
If I had kids, even when in vet school, like I had so much fun, but I was to your point, like I was doing other things besides just school. Like I started a business and like I was going to conferences and was networking and was like, look how freaking cool all this stuff is.
My question I asked Garth, because Garth is the same way. How many of your classmates did that?
Maybe not even one other. I don't know. I was probably like the one in my class
and
that really went off with it. Maybe like one or two other kind of played around.
How big was your class?
130, 120, 130.
So you're less than 1% of your class was doing what you're doing. And less than of your class, you're 5 years out. How many are still practicing?
I don't know the answer to that. But all my friends are still practicing.
Okay, all your friends are still practicing. Yeah, I think we lost 50% of our class within 10 years.
That is some interesting data that I'd like to get, and I don't know how to do that. Maybe on the
Oh,
Facebook
it's easy.
page.
That's easy. No, it's easy. I could send you whatever empirical article. Do you know 38% of veterinarians within 5 to 10 years leave the veterinary profession? Completely. Forget what job they're at. And, Peter Weinstein has a great theory. He's like, you go through this turbulent ride that is veterinary school, right? Mm-hmm. It's rough. But you can make it fun. I had a blast as well.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother podcast. But, but
we need 2 more hours.
yeah, exactly. But, the thing is, like, the turbulent ride that's veterinary school, what is your landing going to be? Is it going to be a hard landing, your first job, or is it going to be a soft landing?
Well, everybody tells you to pick very carefully because most of the time it is a super hard landing.
Okay, so what's the second job? Is it a hard landing or a soft landing? What's the third job? Is it still a hard landing or is it a soft landing? Right? It goes on and on and on and on and on. I mean, that's the thing. The thing is, like, kids choose vet. Like, I had a new grad that I wanted to hire, and she decided to go to a practice because they had 9 veterinarians, and I only had 2.5. And I said, why are you doing that? She's like, well, I want mentorship. I'm like, just because you have 9 veterinarians there doesn't mean there's going to be 9 people that want to teach you. You're lucky if you have one.
That want to talk to you. Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. But that's my question. Do we think that 30 to 40% of veterinarians leave the industry altogether because vet med just wasn't a good fit? Or is it because they started practicing in a really shitty culture and got a taste of what they think? Oh my gosh,
you're going over my dissertation. You're giving, I'll have data for you. All I need are surveys filled out by any early career vets that have been out there 0 to 5 years.
I'll link it. I'll link it for you so that we can get it out there. But
you get to fill out a survey because you've been out 5 years, so you get to fill one out. But I already know where your answers are going to be because you are totally outside of the demographic. But there's things I'm controlling for. One of the things I'm controlling for is personal depression, anxiety, stress scale. So I want to know, do people have their own personal issues versus what's truly happening because of the profession? That's one thing.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm controlling for is resilience.
How do you control for that?
There's a resiliency scale.
Okay.
Yep. And then obviously I have in my demographics, I have so many things. Are you privately owned, individually owned? Are you the owner? Are you in a private practice? Are you in a corporate practice? Like, my demographics are going to start. And when you see the survey, you'll see it. All these things that I'm going to be able to control for.
Wait, how are you determining resiliency?
There's a resiliency scale that's been empirically tested and verified. So basically, it's questions that you get asked. And it's a Likert scale of 0 to 5, or 1 to 5, completely disagree to completely agree, and everything in between.
Do you think if you ran a practice now, you would hire based on like an EQ quiz?
Yes.
Like a personality quiz and then a resiliency quiz? Like, would you do that and then hire according to those? Well,
the thing is, I want veterinary schools to start doing that. Because how many veterinary schools can you get into without even having an interview?
I know, it's wild.
How do you even know what you're getting? All you know is you have a 3.92 GPA with someone who's never worked in veterinary medicine, and you're not going to interview them.
Yeah,
they're going to be the perfect fit. Yeah. This is going to be a perfect fit for us.
And then we expect these people who have those are the skills you need to be a leader. And we're like, you're going to be a leader, but they suck at that stuff. And then no one teaches them how to do it. And then they're the only ones that can own a practice. And then we wonder why so many people are depressed when they go to work because they hate it, because they hate the people they're working with.
There's so many different things. I mean, there's going to be so much data. So just to tell you a little more about the research. So I'm looking at all these independent variables, right? And my dependent variable is intention to leave. And it's intention to leave the profession. My dimmer switch is the amount of emotional labor that you put in to the profession. Like, do people feel like they have a lot, a little, and that's going to kind of weigh it out. And the one thing I'm going to mediate, which is basically just all my independent variables have to go through stress to look at intention to leave. The problem with all these articles that you're reading right now on stress in veterinary medicine, they're all either qualitative interviews like this, or they're quantitative self-filled out surveys. I'm also going to be taking cortisol levels on whoever opts in. And on the day that they're doing cortisol levels, I have a diary for them to fill out. And the first question is, on a scale of 0 to 10, how stressed are you today? So I can validate the cortisols. And then I'm also, off of that, I'm also going to interview randomly 16 people. I'm going to be looking at low stress, low resilience, high stress, high resilience, and then the two in between, the two flip-flops.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm going to be setting up my interviews. So I'm going to be able to triangulate my data on self-reported, physiologic, and interviews. And that's how we're going to come up with some answers, I hope.
What do you think you're going to find out? Like, what's your suspicion?
What I want to find out is, why are the 20 people that I mentored into vet school still thriving and loving veterinary medicine? And though my independent variables are things that I came up with in my brain that I think might be the cause. I'm hoping that I'm proving myself right, and I'm hoping what is it going to do for practice? I hope it's going to change, or at least open the eyes of people who are trying to apply to veterinary school, also change the eyes of people who have that stupid generalized application, and also change the way that we are accepting students. Because if I look at applications, the last application I would ever look for a job would be an Ivy League school. Because I knew they had to be perfect getting in, I knew they had to be perfect getting through. And I'm not talking about veterinary school, I'm talking about undergrad. I'm looking for the Naval Academy, I'm looking for Air Force Academy, I'm looking for, West Point. Those are the first I look for. And then I'm looking for Arizona State University 3.2 GPA. I knew they grinded. Chances are they're in a fraternity sorority, they probably partied their asses off, and they still got a pretty great GPA. They finished their program. I mean, those are the type we need to get into this profession. That's where you find your resiliency, that's where you find your grinders, that's where you find those who know what they can put their body through and still come out with acceptable results. That's what we need. So it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of excited. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to find out. I'm supposed to have at least 500 veterinarians in this. I hope I get 4,000. Because of AI and how great all these statistical programs are now, it's easy to look at a data set of 4,000.
And you are looking at, like, how does that person feel about the culture they're working in?
Oh, that's another, yes, excuse me. That was another control I have, is psychological safety. I'm going to send you my surveys. You better fill them out.
I will. I'll definitely do it.
But you can look at it and also give me feedback, because I think you're going to see what I'm going after. You're going to be like, this is interesting. And the thing is, like, I have a call today with the AVMA. They won't give me an email list, but they'll give me addresses so I can. This is where, when we say we fear change, they're going to give me addresses that I have to print out and put on envelopes and hand mail surveys.
I feel like that's more invasive to give out like personal addresses versus an email.
I think that they're very defending. They defend those emails because they're worried about spam.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, trust me, I don't want to market these people. I want to do this. And then the funny thing was, like, maybe I'm saying too much, but they're like, well, it needs to be AVMA. You got to mention us. And I'm like, I have no problem. Whoever wants to ride my coattails, go for it. I don't care, because I'm on a mission. And they're like, well, and it can't be published anywhere until it's published in JAVMA. And I'm like, the only place I want to publish is JAVMA.
Yeah.
That's the only place. Maybe it'll get me some lecturing gigs. Maybe I can go talk at conferences. I know I'm one of the keynote speakers at a conference at Pepperdine, because Pepperdine truly believes in what I'm doing.
No, we need it. We need the data. We need to know what's going on. Everybody wants to know. They're like, how do I pick veterinarians that are going to stick around and are going to like being here? And I think it's that there's more to it than just that. And I think what you're looking at is going to help us get to the bottom of it and put the pieces together.
I'm hoping there's another veterinarian that he's supposed to, hopefully, fingers crossed, starting in August. So I'm going to give him the second half of my, because I was going to do like a 2-part, but I'm going to have him do the recovery piece. That's like, okay, you're stressed. What are you doing to recover? Because a lot of veterinarians, they have a hard day. They go home, they sit on their couch, they don't talk to anybody, they're too emotionally exhausted. They don't go to church, they don't go to synagogue, they don't go to their mosque.
What are we doing?
They don't go out to their friends. They don't go out to dinner with their partners or husbands or wives.
You know what's crazy? I love that you're doing the cortisol testing, because when you were saying that, I recently got an Oura Ring like a month ago. And I thought, I was like, handling stress pretty well. Like I was like, I'm not that stressed at work. Like it's fine. No, like it is wild. I'm in the stress engaged the entire day. And I look at my husband's, he works for HEB. He's not in veterinary medicine. And he deals with hundreds of people. He's a leader over hundreds of people. And his stress scores are like half of mine. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like really stressed.
So for you and all the listeners out there, go look up allostatic load.
Allostatic load.
Allostatic load. See what it does to your adrenal glands, see what it does to your brain, see what it does to your heart. Look it up. And you'll be like, holy shit.
We have not even talked about your vacation rental company thing that you do as a side hustle.
It's not a side hustle. What I used to do is I use my very productive practices to get loans, and I would use those loans to buy vacation properties. So first one I bought was in 2008, 2009 during the Great Recession. I bought a ski in, ski out vacation rental up in Big Bear.
How did you get the idea to do that? Like what made you, who told you that that's an idea? That's something we should do?
My dad gave me a quote. My dad had his PhD in economics from Oxford. God isn't making more land. You look at the most successful people that are out there, look at the 1%ers. Is there money in the stock market or is there money in real estate? Love him or hate him. Look at Donald Trump. He owns real estate all over the world, and not like any type of real estate, like impressive oceanfront golf courses, like, you know. So basically, I bought that house, and then I bought one in La Quinta, California, in PGA West. It is a vacation rental that I knew that people who rented it have the option of 7 public golf courses they could play, and it's 10 minutes away from Coachella and Stagecoach.
Oh my gosh, brilliant. I just heard Kevin O'Leary talk about like a big chunk of his investments is in real estate.
Real estate, correct, of course, because God's not making more land.
He's a multi-billionaire, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And then my wife told me, if we sell the veterinary practices, I'll let you buy a beach home in Mexico. I closed on the practice on Tuesday. I closed on the beach home on a Saturday of the same week.
You were like, we're not waiting on this.
Yeah. So it's basically, it reminds me of how Cabo used to be. It's called Rocky Point, Puerto Penasco. It's 3 hours dead south of Phoenix, Arizona. There are a lot of Texans that come there too. I bought a house right on the beach in Mexico.
Wow.
And guess what? Why did I do it there? Because I loved it, but it's the only beach access for anyone who lives in Arizona, New Mexico, right? They have 2 choices. They can drive 6 hours and get to San Diego, or they can drive 3 hours and be in Mexico.
Do you have a real estate person that is working with you to find these locations, or are you just doing your homework and figuring it out?
I'm an ultimate risk taker, and I'm an entrepreneur. I take risks, you know, and the last one I bought was Scottsdale, because I believe Scottsdale is the next Austin and Nashville. I wish I got into Austin in 2009, because now I read that Austin, it's a buyer's market now out in Austin, right? Because so that's the kind of thing you got to do. And you got to also, when it comes to real estate, you got to ride the wave, because the houses are going to go up, they're going to go down, they're going to go up, because we have such amazing leadership in the states and in Washington, D.C. that, you know, they just keep messing with us. I don't care what side you're on. I don't care what side you're on. I am so down the middle when it comes to that, but they none of them have any of our interests truly at heart. But you have to be able to ride the wave. But I promise you, houses, real estate will keep going up. But the thing is that if you're going to do vacation rentals, you want to have them where people want to go.
Be. Location, location, location. First 3 rules of real estate. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to buy one in the middle of Oklahoma.
Right.
Now, if it's a big ass farm and it has all these animals and it's like you could do something cool, that's a cool concept. Go off grid,
like an off grid concept, because I think that's where vacation is going.
But you can never get off grid anymore. Sorry, everyone carries around that little magic box that talks to the sky.
It is like magic, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and now it's going to be even worse, because no one's asking, is it a good thing that T-Mobile partnered with Skylink? Think about that. Mm-hmm. You will never go off grid if you have T-Mobile, because you're always connected to Skylink. You could be in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and still get cell phone calls.
Yeah. Remember when everybody cared about our data, and now they're just like, I put everything I want to know into AI. Like I tell it everything.
That's the next big thing is like, if you could create a veterinary product that will collect data, you will be worth $1 billion. $1 billion.
It is everything. Yeah.
You would be worth $1 billion. Don't believe me? Look at every single pet product that's sold on Shark Tank. They're all data collectors.
Kevin O'Leary was just talking about the cat DNA thing, and it sold for, I'm sure it was billions. They wouldn't say the number,
Right.
but because of the data, she exited in
data.
like 28 months or something, and it was like a giant exit because of the value of the data. Yeah.
Right. The intellectual property that you're building. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The data. It's all about the data. So,
Do you miss practicing?
I miss the clients. Believe it or not, I miss the clients. I miss the patients.
You think you'll go back?
You know, I've been offered like relief shifts and stuff, but I don't know if I could. I'm having too much fun doing what I'm doing now. I'm getting fulfillment, like by talking to you, sitting here talking to you, looking at all those things. I think those are the things I'm looking for in life now. Is like, how can I help you be better in practice? That's what I want to do. I don't need to be in a practice teaching someone how to read an x-ray, now that AI does it especially, or look at lab work, but how can I, from outside the practice, how can I help you become a better veterinarian? That's the challenge that I love, and it's giving me fulfillment now.
And this bigger picture of like, how do we make veterinary medicine better? Like, how do we get it out of this hole it's in and get people enjoying it again, and the narrative to be that it's a great profession to be a part of, and there's so much opportunity, and clients trust us, and we're saving lives. Like, how do we get the narrative to turn around?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know. I'm hoping to have some answers, and I think we're going to have to start at the very top, because, I mean, all the research that's been done is, like I said, is exceptional, but it hasn't made a change.
It's just information right now that we're not really doing anything with. Yeah.
I mean, we need to get true data, true answers, and make true changes. And the problem is that you got to get veterinary medicine to accept change. Mm-hmm. That's the hard part.
What's your advice to new graduates today coming out of school and entering our profession?
Be prepared to grind. Be prepared to be kicked around. Be prepared to learn. Be humble. Take feedback. Don't look at reviews ever. Do the best job you can. Know that you're prepared, but also know that you're not prepared when it comes to the emotional demands and the soft skills that you're going to need to pick up. Learn from everyone around you, from what they do great, and follow that. Learn what they don't do great and how you can make it better. Always challenge yourself. Always be learning. Know that there are people like you and I out here that are here as cheerleaders. There's a bunch of us that are cheerleaders. We're here to help you. And the bottom line is, don't expect to be perfect. We're practicing veterinary medicine.
Thanks, Dr. G. Thanks for everything you're doing, for starting this movement and creating opportunities for us to learn more with the data that we have, and collecting, like, really your efforts to figure out really what's going on and then what we're going to do about it. Because I agree. Like, I think we've just been a loop of everybody's depressed and committing suicide, and it's a problem. But that's it. Like, that's where
all we
the
hear
conversation
about.
ends.
That's all we hear about.
Exactly.
We don't hear about the good stuff.
And it's time to change the conversation. I think there's lots of us that are happy and / have figured it out, but we got to collect that data. So I'm really excited to see the work that you come out with, and what comes of that, and where the industry goes with your help. If people do want to reach out with you, where can they find you?
Well, that's easy. We're at pack.lens.studios on all socials. If you've been out of veterinary medicine for 0 to 5 years, it's on my website, vetmedit.com. You'll see it in the upper right corner. It says study. Just click on that. I'll get you right to those surveys. And actually, what I'm going to be doing is I'm giving away a weekend to 4 people, and they can choose which vacation rental they want to use for the weekend.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All they
But
have to
the
do is
one-
complete the survey?
Both surveys complete. Yes, there's 2
Yeah.
surveys. Yeah.
Cool.
And then you can opt in if you want your cortisol tested, and I'm doing it via saliva. And then you might be chosen for an interview if you want that. Very last thing is for every completed survey I get, I'm making a $10 donation to the Veterinary Information Network Foundation, up to $10,000.
amazing.
So, everyone's like, oh, we need incentive. What are you going to pay me? And it's like, I'm trying to make a change here. You can just keep sitting there and bitch if you want, but
Yeah.
don't tell me you need an incentive if I'm trying to do something better for you.
Amen.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, the
Awesome.
surveys are 20 minutes each. It's no big deal. You can do them on your phone. You don't have to complete them all at once. You come back and do them. But I really would love to get as many early career veterinarians as possible. The more numbers we have filling out these surveys, the more data we're going to have, the more we can try to figure out some sort of path moving forward. And it starts at the very beginning, which is when you fill out your application to veterinary school.
I will link all this stuff in the show notes so that people can find the things that you're talking about. And I really appreciate your time today.
No problem. It was great talking to you. Keep up the fight.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll have to get together on some more of this stuff.